Okay, earthquake lecture notes. Here's your title. Here's the questions we're going to be answering. First set of notes, pause the video please, write these down. Why do earthquakes happen? You need to know that the P waves arrive first and the S waves arrive second. And this is what they look like. The P waves compress and stretch the ground like an accordion. And the S waves shake the ground from side to side like a snake. So those are your two different types of waves from an earthquake, primary waves and secondary waves. Pause the video if you need to and write that down, please. A seismograph records the earthquake waves. That's an instrument like this that records when an earthquake passes by. It keeps track of the movement of the earth. Again, write that sentence down, please. Where do earthquakes happen? Pause the video and write this down, please. A seismogram is the reading you get from an earthquake that passes by. The difference in arrival times from the P waves to the S waves is called lag time. You can take that and use a graph to change the time, the lag time, into distance from the earthquake. And then you can do that and draw a circle on a map that shows the distance to the earthquake around that seismograph station. If you do that for 3 different seismograph stations, you will get a place where all 3 circles intersect. That is the epicenter, or where the earthquake occurred. So you need 3 seismograph stations to triangulate the location of your earthquake. Next part, pause the video please, write these notes down. We are not able to predict when earthquakes will occur, but we can figure out approximately where they will occur. There's another video in this unit on earthquakes that you'll watch that has to do with predicting earthquakes. What effect do they have in the surrounding areas? Pause the video and write this down. It depends on how much energy was released. That is called the magnitude of the earthquake. This shows you some different scales, different sizes of earthquakes, and how many we have each year on this planet, and the kinds of damage that you can do. You don't need to write this part down. Add to your notes, please, that the effects depend on the type of building and the ground that it is built on. Those will have a very different result depending on what you've done with your building. You don't need to write this part down, but just understand that brick and inflexible materials will crack and crumble, whereas wood is okay and steel is pretty good for withstanding earthquakes. Isolating the base from the building will allow it to sway and not collapse. There are some videos in the folder regarding this and showing you how these effects are studied. These are base isolators as well as these large rubber columns, and they help to isolate the building from the ground, so when the ground shakes, the building doesn't have to shake as badly. The type of soil a building is on will also affect it. The soft soil or loose fill will shake more than the solid bedrock. You should go back into the folder and watch the video about the liquefaction in the park in Japan to see that in action. For earthquake hazards, you should just list all of the different hazards that can occur. You don't necessarily need to write down the descriptions. So pause the video and write down buildings collapsing, liquefaction, flooding, tsunami, and fire. You should also go back and watch the 2 videos in this folder on tsunamis. This is an effect of liquefaction that turns the ground into almost quicksand-like mud. And that is it for your notes on earthquakes. Make sure you watch the videos that go along with this demonstration or this lecture.